Okay, so I'll start by introducing myself. So I'm Brevan Reyher. I work for Rackspace Hosting. I've been with them for 11 years. And we've been involved in OCP for the entirety of the program. We actually built a data center in London using the OCP principles. We weren't able to contribute that back to the community because of other entities being involved, but it follows many of the OCP principles. I am taking over the project lead position from Rob Bunger, who is moving to the IC representative position. And what I wanted to do here was have an open discussion on the project regarding existing topics, the status of those, and any new topics that we were going to cover over the next year. I think Michael Bailey has some comments regarding one of the projects that we've been working on, a data center infrastructure cable coloring schema. Do you want to give your comments on that?
So, I saw, I don't know how you saw it before, but it's up on the wiki page. The color schema where we suggest a color scheme to do your infrastructure cabling, red and blue for diverse paths, management cable for black, and so forth. You can read the whole document up there. We'll go through the whole thing. But the bigger news is that the cable manufacturers are out there that are starting to adopt it. Birdtech Electronics has done it for a long time for us. 3M has also got some colors, and then Anthenol, which they are here today, out there in the booth, they've got the colors that they're already matching up as well. So it's actually starting to take hold from the manufacturer standpoint. There are other partners that we've gone out with that have adopted it inside their data centers. So it is definitely getting some traction. It has helped us for the last 10 years be more efficient and get more assets into the data center quicker and faster, and helped us out a lot. So sort of a quick little win.
Yeah, for anybody who's not familiar with this contribution that Fidelity gave last year, it seems simple but can have a big impact on your operations in the data center. It's just standardizing the coloring of your networking and optical cabling based upon on its function. And again, 10 years of experience from Fidelity. And so they share that. Now, some people already have their cable standards, and this is really a great benefit for those that haven't set up a standard. And you know, the other big benefit is hopefully driving down, you know, having very accessible and good cost cables for the community.
Yes. So the first really big win for that was the Twin X, 10 gig Twin X. We asked the manufacturer to come up with the color scheme, and they said, hey, if you want a red cable, it's going to cost you X, and you're going to buy 10,000 feet of it. And no, I don't want to do that. So we partnered, and we told a lot of people, and next thing you know, the third person we talked to said, well, I love that. I'll buy 50,000 cables. Well, there's my 10,000 feet. And now I've never had to go back, and I can buy one or I can buy two. And immediately the cost went from $50 a cable to $22 a cable. Not to mention, I stopped buying the tier 1 cables immediately and went from $200 a cable down to $25 a cable. So immediately you get a cost break. But if we all start adopting the same color code across all cables, not just Twin X, but fiber and copper, and all go in together, all decide to adopt this color scheme, we can then go to these different manufacturers that are adopting the same schema that'll have a part list for that. We could then go in and say, we'd like to go in and joint buy X amount, and the prices then will come down to a scalable option. You know, the more that they can build, the cheaper it can be built for them, and the cheaper we can all benefit from it.
Good. Thanks for that. Yes.
The color schema you came up with, is there anything given to visually impaired, called people with color blindness or anything? Was there any industrial design aspect of the colors that were chosen in the schema?
So the funny thing is I'm colorblind, so I came up with the color, so okay. That's kind of stupid. But yeah, so it is red and blue. So those colors are very distinctly different and for me, so I can see them pretty well. There is a yellow and there's a black. There is a green, and green sometimes can be brown and green, but that's usually for a redundant pass. I meticulously didn't try to go through a brown. We did have some comments way back when from one of the people on the list that had a whole bunch of other colors, and those colors did sort of mix. I will say the triple E standard colors, the aquas and the teals and all, mess me up all the time. And I'll be the first one to say, back in the day when we used to punch down cables on a 110 block, the green and browns are all messed up somewhere in my company. But regardless, they are simple and to the point, and they're pretty. We have all the Pantone colors so that you can get the right colors. We've been a pretty stickler for trying to stay on those colors so that they don't blend or fade. But we didn't go out to the doctors and find out what the exact colors would be best. I mean, there's definitely different levels of being colorblind too, but works for me, and being that way.
Here's just, who are your partners that are providing these cables?
So we got 3M right now is doing twin ax. Bertec Electronics does all of our copper and fiber, and then Amphenol is now offering up twin ax as well. We don't buy anything from them, but they are offering it up at the moment. So, not to say we wouldn't, but we just don't have anything from them at the moment.
Thank you for that.
Are they in that catalog as the different colors now?
They are in the first two companies I mentioned. I didn't ask them. I mean, I would assume because they have samples right here that they gave me. So I would assume that they have them in their catalog that they can get them. And if anybody wants to come look at these samples, you can grab them from me, or they have some more at their booth right across the hall.
Cool.
Anything else?
Okay, I put this, I wanted to show this slide to remind everybody that the data center facility project is not just about the mechanical and electrical data center facility. It extends all the way down to the rack, and it's going to include your IC space and layout, and that's where our colo facility guidelines comes in. It also includes, data center facility monitoring and control. So we need to start having conversations with the data center hardware manufacturers and the Redfish APIs to ensure that they're getting ahead of that standard. It's going to make it available. And also facilities operation. And so we do have a document under review at this time, has been for a while, a data center operations maturity model. And so we're going to go ahead and kick that back up and make sure that the information that Open Compute provides to the community not only helps them be more efficient with their racks, but also helps them be more efficient as a company. Another piece on that, the data center facility is not necessarily one of the major technology projects of OCP, but what it is a supporting project. So you have your networking, server, storage, rack and power, your OCP hardware, but you have all of these other pieces that support the ability to deploy that Open Compute hardware. And so data centers is one of those. And so one of my main goals over the next year is to make sure that we're having the conversations with all of the other groups and cross-collaborating between the projects on the different contributions. If you guys know anyone participating in those other projects, go ahead and have those conversations and understand what they're working on, go to their monthly calls, and figure out how we can actually provide input to the entire ecosystem. So right now, one of the major things that we have as far as existing topics, we have the original data center mechanical and electrical specs that were provided by Facebook and the Prineville site. We have the co-location facility guidelines, which are going to help a person needing to co-locate OCP gear be able to provide a co-location find a co-location provider for that that gear. That's in draft status right now, but we're looking to finalize that with version 1 by the end of Q2. And then Mike was just talking about the data center cabling infrastructure schema. And so we're going to go ahead and finalize that. And as far as new topics, earlier today, we introduced the sub-project, the OCP modular data centers. Swedish Modules is going to work on that. And so over the next few months, we're going to go ahead and finalize that and get that contribution into the ecosystem. I sent a survey out to the mailing list, and one of the majority of the responses were asking about data center facility monitoring and control with Redfish API. And so, as mentioned, that's part of one of our pillars or functional areas is data center monitoring and control. And so we're going to have those conversations and start covering that. I know that there's schemas available right now that have been developed, but we need to review those and make sure that they're going to meet our needs in our facilities. And then over the years, we never had developed an official project charter. The project charter for the data center facility project was the initial specifications from Facebook. And so we're going to put together a facility project charter that makes sure to track all of these different functional areas and ensure that we can contribute across the whole OCP ecosystem. Now, open it up to the floor. Are there any topics that you guys know of that you are either willing to contribute or want to find more information about?
Sustainability standards.
I think it's right there. Okay, thanks. And actually, there's two things. So Open Compute sustainability standards. So whenever we are looking at the data center facilities, making sure that the PUE or the risk profile and energy use and waste reuse are included there. As well as we had a previous talk regarding BIM models for Open Compute gear. And that's really going to help us on the data center facility side when our customer comes in and we need to design it to support Open Compute gear. Some people are contributing and trying to head up a project to get the Open Compute racks, power supplies, hardware into a BIM model so that it can be modeled in Revit, put into Six Sigma DCS, DCX, and make sure that the facility design is modeled to support OCP gear. So any other topic suggestions?
On-site. Do I need this? Microgrids, on-site power generation, grid independence, the most serious way of saving energy that we could contribute to our communities.
Okay, that's good. Yes, I'll be hitting you up to head that project. I do. Yes.
Hi, morning. I just wanted to find out if part of the sustainability standards, if you're looking at, besides the PUE, for those data centers that use evaporative cooling, if you have, I guess, standards is the wrong word, data monitoring recommendations for water usage and the water usage efficiency numbers. Because I think at the moment people they kind of track their volume per month, but it kind of depends on where you get your water from, right? If it's from a municipal system or if it's from a byproduct of another process, if you're close to like a power plant where they have condensate, which is already cleaned and processed to an extent it's going to be released back into the environment, then your PUE, your volume would be the same for two facilities, but it's actually more sustainable from the second source. So I just didn't know if that was being tracked at all.
these are brand new topics. And so they're in the inception stage. There's a lot to be defined. So that's a great point. It's not just about PUE and WUE. That WUE might actually be wastewater or rainwater or something different. And so to define where that, sort of like where you measure PUE changes what it is, and same with your water usage. So that's good, a good comment on the water. Okay. Well, this afternoon, in the same room, a lot of the immersion cooling and high-performance computing presentations are going to be in this room. So I encourage you to, if you do have data center facilities or you're looking into different water cooling methods, they'll be here in this room. Good. Thank you.